Hey everybody, we're gonna talk about planting some lettuces today in a spring garden. It is finally spring, and one of the best spring crops for the region that we are in is lettuce. So before I talk about the actual lettuces I'm going to plant, let me tell you what I did beforehand and the reasons why. The lettuces that I've got grow, and most lettuces grow really well in a lot of nice soil with a lot of compost. So I went through and I added some compost to all the beds. I also added a little bit of fertilizer to the beds before I I'm going to plant, and I also mixed it all in together, and then I went back and I dug out all of the tangled mess of tangled mess of drip irrigation, put that back out. And the reason why I had to do that is this is the first year I'm actually going to use this with lettuces, and lettuces themselves need constant moisture. If they don't have a lot of moisture, then they start to get a bitter taste to them. So that was the one thing that you need to make sure when you're planting lettuce. You've got constant moisture, and it's best if you have moisture at the roots with the lettuces. So drip irrigation is great if you can grab that. The other thing that lettuces need, and the reason why I put the fertilizer in, is they need to grow fast, because especially here in the south, if they don't grow fast, then it gets too warm and it's bitter. We're in zone 7 right here, and sometimes in April it can be 90 degrees. So where you plant the lettuce is definitely something to think about. So what I've done is I've already got a trellis here for peas, and I've planted some peas, and those peas are actually going to grow up and they're going to give a little bit of shade. So when it does get warm, hopefully the lettuces are going to be a little bit shaded. And I'm going to keep the varieties that have a tendency to bolt quicker a little bit closer to that. The romaines and things like that, they can take a little bit more of the heat. So I'm going to put the romaine a little bit further up and not necessarily in the shade. Shh. Rolling sound. Shh. One of the things I really like to do when I plant lettuce is I like to make it look pretty instead of just be functional. I pick the lettuces based on the colors, and I arrange them so that they look good in the garden too. I have a little bit of an artistic eye, and to me, I like to come into the garden and see something pretty. It's functional as well, but it's also really pretty. So I'm going to make sure when I arrange the lettuces, they have enough room to grow, but it looks kind of interesting. When you transplant lettuces like this, they have a tendency to wilt, but don't worry about that. They do bounce back after they get a little bit of water and a little bit of sunshine. What I tried to do was outline the red leaf lettuce with the nice bright crisp, the bright chartreuse green, and then on the outside I did a little spinach just to line the outside, and then I mimicked the other side of the bed with the red romaine, and then the red bright green romaine on the inside too. There's a little bit of things left over from last year, some oregano and parsley in there. I'm just going to leave in there until it gets too big, because you just can't pull these things up. Alright, so I'll get the drip irrigation started, and these guys are ready to eat. Tell me what you think.